the security sector is an interesting one. We're seeing a shift within East Africa, moving like the rest of the world more towards a technology focus rather than your manual security, which has been the trends in the past. In the vehicles, there has been a major shift towards vehicle tracking and doing things remotely with automated automated signaling coming through to control rooms. And we do a lot of remote monitoring these days, much more so than we did for clients in the past. So if we're to look at it from a point of view, when we look at the guarding sector, for sake of example, manned guarding, we're seeing the numbers overall in Kenya. You've probably got about 700,000 guards, and we're seeing that reducing quite significantly over time. From what is taking that basis up? Well, it's more the technology that's coming in. So from your CCTV to your access controls to your alarm systems with emergency response teams, that seems to be a growing sector within the market. So certainly, if there was an opportunity within the security sector, it would be more towards a technology-based focus. On the cash in transit side, COVID really threw a spanner in the works. We saw a 35% reduction in cash movement from the advent of COVID. And whilst it's recovered, it's nowhere near recovered to the levels pre-pandemic. So nicely, what's happened is a lot of companies are focused internally, including the banking sector in Kenya. And we've seen a lot of interest towards cash management being outsourced to security companies such as ourselves. So we have 5 cash management centers around the country. And we outsource those services to a number of banks and large retail entities. So that's maybe one area of cash in transit which has grown, along with the advent of cash depositor machines. So a lot of the focus in Kenya has moved away from using manual tellers, as you've seen in the rest of the world, and the advent of cash depositor machines has really taken grip, both in the retail sites to give clients real-time credit to their bank accounts as and when the retailers are coming in and depositing money, but also taking the traffic away from the banking tellers and the like. So moving away from the security arm to the supply chain. Supply chain is one of those wonderful industries that doesn't matter what's happening, whether it's COVID, whether it's elections next year, that it doesn't necessarily get too affected on a regional level when it comes to outside interference. So we actually had one of our busiest years in COVID last year in 2020, which was nice, very unexpected in many ways. But we've been very fortunate to be on the back end of a very large expansion since 2010 in Kenya. So our company's grown in size significantly. We've been able to expand to 114 branches. We were a quarter of that, 5 or 6 years ago. And it's enabled us to now move into other countries, into Uganda, where there is a huge opportunity with the new pipelines and the new oil exploration and the logistics that runs alongside that. But then also look at other East African countries as well. What you find in the supply chain market is the majority of large corporates and large clients tend to base themselves in Kenya, use Kenya as a hub. But then they want the same services replicated across East Africa. And that's where Fargo comes in. So whilst we may have seen a huge drop-off in the manufacturing and the retail sectors last year, and they have recovered somewhat, and tourism was also very affected. We saw a massive uptick in the pharmaceutical sectors and the relief sectors, which Fargo is very fortunate to take advantage of. So yeah, on the whole, I hope that gives a general landscape of the supply chain and the security industries.